States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The quorum is present, the meeting can proceed. Approval of the previous minutes. The minutes of February 1st, 26 have been provided to board members. Are there any modifications, requests?
I move to approve.
There's a motion to approve. I second. There is a motion and a second. All in favor say yes. All and not in favor say no. I say yes.
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 The motion carries. Okay. Okay. We're going to try this again. We're going to do a public comment, but it's going to be run just like the county commissioners run theirs. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes for the township residents to voice a concern, statement, or an observation. This is not a discussion time between residents, so there's only one speaker at a time. This is not a question and answer session, so please make your statements and do not expect answers from the board members. Please address all comments to the board as a whole and not to as individual members, beginning by stating your name and address. And thank you for your cooperation. Is there anyone to speak?
Let's just start on one side and that way.
I'll pass.
Just wondering if you saw the rock thing. that
State
you-
your name and address.
Oh, Lynn Pollins, 5350 Southwest Toronto. I'm still concerned about the floor rock that's being put in front of my house because it just goes up in dust. I think Jack provided
You
you.
all received one of the copies of it, so you're aware of it, I'm sure.
Okay.
Jack, did you have a comment?
Did you have a comment?
Jack, 5350 Southwest Tawakoni. I gave all of you a copy of the rock quarry deal. It's all on the computer. You can see it. Done by the state of Kansas. Why do we buy the cheapest rock so that we have to put multiple layers of rock on a road? You're using our money to do dumb things.
Is that your statement? Are you complete?
I will be in just a second.
Okay.
Before this change of the regime, we had good rock on the roads. We bought the rock that came out of eastern Kansas. The softer rock, if you look at your paperwork that was given to you, specifically says that it's the cheapest and the softest and the worst. That's why we have such a dust storm going down the roads. No reason for us to have punishment of dust everywhere. It can be harmful to your health. Are you choosing to make that statement that you want it to be harmful to my health? I'm an old man. I'll die before long, but I don't want to do it because of that.
He's not going to answer yet.
I'm asking you to. Is that my time up? I'll
Okay.
pass right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say, Tom Pacenza, 5510 Southwest Tawakoni, and the dust is a problem. My wife's got emphysema pretty bad, and she has a really tough time with the dust and stuff that's in the air. Wind comes out of the south or southwest, and it just blows right through the house. There's really no way to keep it out, so if there's anything that could be done, I'd appreciate it. So that's my comment.
Thank you.
Yes, there was a sheet that I submitted.
Your name?
John Beeler, 11947 Southwest 50th.
You want to make a public?
No, I'm saying that there was a public
Okay.
comment sheet there, so if you could please read that and address that.
Okay.
Sean Reese, 5630 Southwest Tawakoni. The first thing I wanted to address was the KYG, or the company that came out and did the work.
The contractor.
The contractor. So at the front of our property, we've had a drainage problem for some time, and it just backs up every time it rains. I know the township had them come out and give some bids. They came out last week to fix that. They did a phenomenal job. So I don't know if the township's planning on using them other places, but they really knew their stuff. They were in and out really quick. They didn't tear up anything more than they had to, which is always a concern. We actually had some saplings that we planted last year, and the guys on the skid steer and stuff worked around them. So that's just, I really appreciated that, and compliment to whoever picked them and whoever worked to manage them. That was really good. So hopefully when it rains, we'll have some better drainage headed down towards 60th. The other thing I wanted to bring up was the Mills Estate, which is that new lot. It's right on the corner of Southwest Tawakoni and 60th. From what I've heard, there's been one parcel sold and there's offers on a couple others. I just didn't know if there's any update with the township or with the county on what they're planning on doing with the entrance road and the small cul-de-sac they're going to put in that area. It seems like there's people buying lots, and we probably wouldn't hear about it, but if the township has heard something from the county on how they're planning on addressing the drainage, as well as that road that they're putting in. It'd be great to get some feedback on that. And then, of course, I'm sure we'll go over it, but any updates we have on 50. Thank you.
What was that contractor, Tony?
No, it is T or FYG. FYG.
Thank you. You have a comment?
Stephen, you want to?
Hey, you skipped me.
Oh.
Steve Warren,
Excuse me.
Southwest 50th Street. I've been asked, we've been watching 72 miles of Township Road go very poorly over the last 6-7 years that we've been here. And I've been driving the township and I've seen quite a bit of work on some trees, which is the first step to making some progress. I've seen some ditch work done. I've seen some culverts that have been addressed, some markers put on culverts, which is extremely helpful for any agriculture that actually happens in this township. It's extremely costly for them to hit those banisters and hit those assets because you couldn't see them. So thank you for getting those, not to mention all of us have kids out here on these roads and accidents happen, so anything we can do to fix these ditches. There's tremendous washout along our road that Indianola that was taken care of a few years ago. And I see one getting fixed right there by, is that Larry Ciro's? That was a tremendous gully. Probably could have swallowed a small car. So really appreciate that. Looks like we got momentum going in the right direction. And I look forward to seeing what we can do over the next few years, the 72 miles we got.
Okay, thank you everybody for your comments. The next order of business is old business. The first matter of old business is the 50th Street issue. I will start by stating the following. At the special meeting of September 26, 25, Curtis Mader noted the current problems are because the road was not prepared correctly for a chip and seal. No stabilization, no drainage prep, no ditch prep, no prep for cutting back the trees. All this causes the road to fail. When asked by Samantha Morgan about the estimated cost, Curtis Mader stated he could not provide one, but it would be very costly. Samantha Morgan made an observation that there was only appears to be two options: get an estimate, which would be very costly, or return the road to gravel. Curtis Mader agreed with that observation. Samantha Morgan asked if the traffic count for the chip and seal and what the traffic count was for 50th. And the answer was the maximum traffic count for a chip and seal was 250 cars a day. And the 50th Street count was more than 250 a day. So it was concluded that the high traffic count is too much for the chip and seal. Mader stated that there would be a preferred hard service, but the cost is about $1 million a mile. Also, Joe Vito said that a double chip and seal on a gravel road is something that he would not recommend and had no idea how it was ever approved. Curtis suggested Schwab and Eaton to do the estimate since that is who the county uses, and 2 estimates from Schwab and Eaton have been received and forwarded to the board members, one for high volume and one for low volume. The low volume was $219,992 plus 10% for engineering, which is a total cost of $241,991. And the one for a high volume road, which is $929,960 plus 10% for the engineering, and the total cost of that is $1,022,965. Based on the current estimates for the cost of traffic count not being appropriate for the chip and seal, and no money for the preferred hard surface, I make a motion that 50th Street between Santa Fe Lake Road and Tawakoni be returned to gravel. Is there a second?
I'll second it so we can discuss it.
There is a motion and a second. The discussion is open. Is there any further discussion?
Interesting. I didn't hear some of those comments that you just read. I'm not sure. Yeah. I just got this late this afternoon. Really haven't had time to read the 7-page document yet.
Well, I did read the document and I was reminded of what Curtis did say. I will say that we asked, Tony sent a letter to Curtis asking some questions about whether the county would take over the road, and Curtis said no, he won't take over the road. So that is not an option. And doing a program like what we have at Parallel and Prairie Creek, he was also not interested in doing a program like that as well. So working with the county is not an option for this stretch of road. It was asked what would cause that, like, what circumstance the county would take over a road, and he declined to answer that question. So, it feels like we've exhausted about every option that we have. I did read over this, so I guess thank you to whoever recorded the audio of that meeting on the road so that it could help our memories of what was actually said. We have too high a traffic count for the surface. When the county engineer says that he wouldn't, or I'm sorry, what is Joe?
He's the road superintendent.
The road superintendent says he would not do double chip and seal over gravel. I don't know how this got pushed through to begin with. When it didn't meet what Curtis said was county spec. So anyways, there was a spot in here where Curtis Nader said if it was, he would start over. So he would turn it under and start over. So we can't start over if we don't get it turned under. But my question to you, Tony, is what's your plan for this road? If it goes back to gravel, what does that look like?
And what the process of putting it back to gravel, or what we're gonna do with it afterwards?
Both.
We're gonna run a sheep's foot hydropack on it, a vibratory roller.
And what does that do?
It pulverizes the asphalt.
Okay.
The asphalt, the chip and seal, which is not much there, will stay in place. And it will probably, we'll probably add some sand. We'll probably add some sand to it so there's no bonding with it. And we'll actually profile the road. And as far as even getting that section, even getting that done, we have a deal in front of Beeler's house, the cottonwood trees coming out, and we've got to do a drainage issue there. So I mean, there's going to be forward work on the road itself, but as far as the gravel, we're going to pulverize it and leave the asphalt in place.
The other thing Curtis said was that trees and water are your two major problems, and I can't find it, and I should have highlighted it when I reread this, but I didn't, so it's gonna be hard for me to like find it again. But he said that trees, he would take trees out, back to the highline poles, because their roots are destroying the road, and then ditch work, because the ditches are not what they should be to get the water away from the road.
Well, the job that we're gonna look to do and that we're gonna request for doing in front of John is actually taking out the big cottonwood and doing riprap and establishing the lowest point of volume for that water to turn across and exit the road. So, you know, we're starting on the downstream side of it, so there's a project behind it. If that answers your question.
Yeah. It's interesting looking back through this that nobody wants to take the credit for pushing this road through when it was not ready to be done. But we can't get started if we don't get started. So if this is the next step to fixing the road, then this is the step we have to take. I don't know. That's my thoughts. What are your thoughts, Colin?
I don't agree. That's my only comment at this point.
What would you do? What would you do?
We've talked about this forever and ever.
Right.
I don't have it with me, but I have a letter from Curtis that said that this was some time back, probably last summer, and he said he thinks the road is salvageable.
I brought that over. Because when I got this in the email, I figured this was coming, so I did some digging.
Yeah.
I did say that, in my opinion, the road can be saved. However, I recognize that I don't know your full budget or specific needs, and in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have made that assumption. But then later, after that letter, he sent another letter that said,
Talking about down there.
I would clear the trees, cut the ditches, patch the holes, and re-chip seal it. But then when we talked to him on the road, let me see if I can find it. You'll have to be patient. He changed his stance. So the road meeting was after those two emails.
Yes, it was.
And he said, thank you for your patience. I should have highlighted this. So he said, obviously there's a drainage issue here and a base failure. So to get this fixed, you have to dig it out and put a new base in. Now, the best thing to do is, later he says that because I asked the question, can we just patch these parts and re-chip seal it? And later he basically said, you're throwing money away because you're going to be back in the same position in a couple of years because it's just going to fail again.
That was in September, right?
That was in September.
Because this is what I was referring to. August 14th, be open to chip sealing the road if ditches were cut on both sides to ensure proper drainage, patching was complete, and a plan in place for tree removal.
But the patching complete isn't just surface patching, it's digging out.
Yeah, that's what
Ripping
we
the
talked
road out.
about, was
Which
digging
is-
down a ways, putting in a good base, putting asphalt over it.
Right.
I've
But
also
then-
heard, go ahead,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry, I will try to find the part where he basically said he changed his
Oh,
mind.
I believe what you said. But we've got two different things here, that being the latest, I understand that.
Well, and there's also,
This is the trees, that was the trees, or-
Not doubting Curtis's credentials, but I've also talked to other people that have experienced road, and they don't think the road needs to be turned over either. So, for what that's worth.
If we don't turn it over now, we have to spend $241,000 to get it repaired because it has to be, or that's the estimate to get it repaired.
that's on a low volume road.
Because that's the, like, we have to let it do the bid letting process.
Right.
And that's their estimate of what the bids will come back to
I
fix it.
understand.
And anything over 25,000 has to go through that process per county spec regulation.
I've said my piece.
Just, sorry, I would really like to find this. Okay, so Joe said you need a full depth dig, and then Curtis Mater said, and that even that I can, okay. Even that I can be when I'm calling patching to me, the full depth dig is what they're calling patching. Compact the base and then resurface it, and then Joe said, and ideally you want maybe 4 to 6 inches of asphalt on top of your compacted base. You don't want, right now you've just got 3/8 of an inch twice, and that's not structural. So my question, my issue, my whole concern with this is, if we just do a halfway job and we just cover up what's there, we try to dig out and patch, which the road is getting worse and worse and worse. So the longer that we wait, the more digging out and patching that we're gonna have to do. And if we dig out and patch and then we just cover it up halfway, just do a halfway job, in 3 years from now or 4 years from now, we're gonna be right back in the same position. All these people are gonna be right back in the same room, griping to us about that road being the same. Like, we're just throwing money, we're throwing effort after foolishness at that point, in my opinion. So, I'm sorry, we're not taking public comments, even though that was earlier in the meeting. At some point, I did ask what the options were, and he said the options are, it's very costly to fix correctly, and if you want a hard surface, that's your option. So we're left with a really expensive option or a really unpopular option.
I have a comment.
So go ahead.
If we spend the high cost on this road, we have to rob budget from every other road in the township. And we would be, if we work on this, like you're saying, digging out potholes, we're doing a halfway job on a halfway job to begin with. The job wasn't prepped right. There was no stabilization, no ditches, the trees weren't tended to, the water wasn't controlled, there's no profile on the road, the road wasn't even profiled, so the water doesn't drain properly off of the road as it sits right now. There's water under the quarter points. When I talked to Joe out there, I asked him specifically if he thought there was water under the ground, and he said yes. You know, and I'm not opposed to fixing the road, but it has to be fixed right. And patching it together is throwing bad money after a bad project in the beginning. So I don't see any sense in pouring money into something that's going to continue to fail.
Well, and if the volume of cars is too high
Well, that's a debatable point, because I think I brought up in a meeting a couple months ago that I talked to engineers in Butler County, and they said that chip seal road, they said, could handle 600 cars.
So I tried to look it up, and there's differing opinions, and that's on if it's not over a gravel base. I guess the base matters, what we started with.
Absolutely it does, absolutely. And
So,
the piece that he was forming was actually out of the quotes on chip and seal over asphalt. It wasn't a chip and seal over gravel. And Joe Vito said that he wouldn't do any chip and seal, double chip and seal over a gravel road. Wouldn't suggest it, doesn't even know how it got approved. And this is what they're doing now with the counties, with making it so that anybody spends more than that amount of money, over $25,000 going into a road. They're trying to avoid situations just like this. Just like this.
I forgot what I was looking for at this point, so, I don't like it, I don't like the idea, but I don't see another option. It's just going to get worse. We've already had comments that it's a liability. So if that's the case, then we've got to do something. There's no way to tell what you're repairing until you get in there, so. This is,
Yeah, definitely if the road, even if that construction was to start, the repair would go on and on and on because they have to keep taking out until they don't find any water. And there's water under that surface. That's obvious. Is there any further discussion?
I don't have anything.
Excuse me?
I don't think I have anything.
Colin, is there any further discussion?
No.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, then we will vote on the motion to return 50th Street from Santa Fe Lake Road to Tawakoni Road to gravel. All those in favor say yes, all opposed say no. I say yes.
Yes.
No.
The motion carries. Please note in the minutes that Antonio and Samantha voted yes and Colin voted no. With the vote passing to return 50th to gravel, I make a motion to use RoadSafe with their bid of $872.66 to close the road, and FYG Construction with their bid of $1,250 on a daily rate to provide the sheep's foot compactor and transportation and an operator. Is there a second?
Would you go over that again, Tony?
I make a motion to use RoadSafe.
I think, did you get 2 bids? Did you send an email with 2 bids? I
Yeah.
didn't print them off.
Yeah,
Did you print them?
here's RoadSafe.
Did you have another bid?
It's right behind me. And what we did was we looked at Foley's and their rental fee, and that's what just renting the equipment using Colson or Brandt or Cole on, and doing it ourselves, and we were still lower using a contractor.
So, are these the, when you say closing the road, can you explain what
Well,
the
we have to
plan
put
is?
barricades up.
I understand what closing the road means. I mean, can you explain your plan?
To close the road,
Yes.
we're gonna put barricades on all the entrances on the north side. And the residents of Briarcliff can exit another way. And then we're gonna put road closed and barricades on either end at Tawakoni and Santa Fe Lake Road. Then the houses there between, we're gonna run sections of the road, pulverize the road and work it in sections. So that if anybody comes out, we're not digging, they can actually still exit from the south side and get one way or the other to exit the area. I also have to call the dispatch and let them know that the road is closed for emergency vehicles.
How long will this take?
Day, 2 days at the most. There's not much asphalt there, there's not much of a chip and seal base there, I don't think it's gonna take really that long. We're gonna, even if we have to rip it with the motor grader and bust it that way, we can do a light skim on it and then pulverize it. And
So,
here's FYIs, or FYGs, and here's the rental cost. And that's their $12.50 per day.
Okay, can you reread that motion again?
I make a motion to use Road Safe with their bid of $872.66 to close the road. And FYG Construction with their bid of $1,250 per day to provide a sheep's foot compactor, transporter, and operator. That's the motion.
Second.
There is a second. The motion is second and discussion is open. Any further discussion?
When are you planning on doing this?
Depending on what the rain does, we have a contingency scheduled for Wednesday. I have to have time in there to notify dispatch and let them know that there's gonna be a road closure so they can notify emergency vehicles, emergency personnel. That's just protocol.
Do you want this closed? Are you keeping it
I
closed?
have
Okay. But, I can't notice that.
This is yours.
those two.
You have a motion on the table.
Is there any more discussion?
Those two.
Colin?
No.
If there's no more discussion, then we will vote on the motion to use Road Safe with their bid of $872.66 to close the road, and FYG Construction with their bid of $1,250 a day to provide sheep's foot compactor transport. All those in favor say yes, all those opposed say no. I say yes.
Yes.
No.
Okay, the motion carries. Will you make a note in the minutes that Antonio and Samantha voted yes and Colin voted no? The next order of old business is tree trimming. Our tree trimmers are working on another project, and they will be back probably tomorrow to work on the section over at 60th and Prairie Creek Road. So we don't have any invoice or any work this month. We are on the schedule. We should be the next people they come back to.
And that's just going back to doing the projects that we approved last month?
Yes. And with them coming back to further this other project, I want to do some prelim to set up for the job in front of the Bealer's residence. And if you get to the Freedom Train, east 50th, east of Tawakoni, the large cottonwood and mulching for the culvert project.
Am I on the right one? There we go.
It's $2,500. I make a motion to approve them to take out the cottonwood and prepare for the culvert in front of the Bealer residence on 50th, east of Tawakoni, for $2,500.
No, but,
I was just gonna ask a question, but I gotta wait till discussion.
well, me too.
Second.
There is a second. Is there discussion?
Go ahead.
Where are we at on, and maybe you said it and I didn't catch it. The things we approved last month, where are we with those? All of them approved?
They're not done.
No, they
So
haven't done any of them.
Are you wanting to move this project in front of those other ones?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
So when you say, like, obviously that cottonwood has to come out, we've been talking about it for several,
Absolutely.
we already agreed on that. But you say for culvert work, is there, like, right there, you plan to fix that culvert? Is that,
Well, we've got some drainage issues there. We've got some wash, and I want to straighten up that ditch. And the other factor that cottonwood is all leaning into the road. If it falls at night, somebody's going to come rolling down through there, is going to hit that tree. We didn't take it out. And I got with John on that. We discussed it. And but we will have on that south side. We're going to take the scrub out of the ditch to the east to the cedar trees, and to the west to the street sign. There's a road sign there. We're gonna straighten that out because I gotta get the machines in the bottom of that ditch to correct the drainage so we can lay it. And we're also gonna do it on the north side as well. And get rid of that pocket of water in there.
So if we add this to, I guess, next question, are you wanting to take one of the other projects off or just add this in front?
Add it in front.
Okay, so then we're at 11.9 open with them, if they get it done.
Well, that tree needs to come out.
I think we're ready to vote.
If there's no more discussion, then we will vote on approving Freedom to take out the tree on 50th east of Tawakoni and prepping it for the culvert work at $2,500. All those in favor say yes. All opposed say no. I say yes.
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 It is unanimous. The motion passes. Okay, this is very interesting. The next order of old business is a cemetery headstone repair. And so we kind of looked into this, and we actually have a legal challenge here. And that we have to go through it. I don't think that we're able to, because my colleague up there in Murdoch said that the township is not responsible for the headstones. It's the responsibility of the owner of the property due to the deed of the property going to the owner. So we, as a township, are responsible for the mowing, the trimming, the roads, the fence, the flags, the general maintenance that Brent does so well. But the actual headstone itself is, if we do that, then we open ourselves to a liability for sure. So I want to move to take the motion off the table relating to the gravestone repair.
Second.
Okay, there's a second. Any further discussion?
You can't discuss taking a motion off the
No.
table.
You're right, I apologize. Okay,
Vote.
We gotta vote to take the motion off the table.
all those in favor say yes, all opposed say no. I say yes.
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 Now you address the actual motion. Do you happen to have that, Candace, what the actual motion was was it last month, 2 months ago?
I don't have it either now.
I just remember we tabled.
Mr. Rodriguez presented 2 bids, Longhorn Construction and Marion Mobile, 8860 and 11,000 respectively. Mr. Rodriguez made a motion to adopt the Longhorn Construction bid for repairs to 10 gravestones.
Okay, so that's the motion that we just took off the table. So the motion on the table, sorry, I'm not trying to take over your job.
Ms. Morgan reported, repairs for cemetery.
The motion on the table right now is to adopt the Longhorn Construction bid for repairs to 10 gravestones. So you're saying that we cannot
We cannot do that.
fix that?
We cannot accept the bids, we can't fix it. If we do, we're not only liable, but I don't think we legally do it, misappropriation of funding on our part.
So then you should just rescind your motion
I rescind the motion.
and move to rescind the motion. Second.
Second. Motion has been moved to rescind. Do we vote?
No, if you rescind your
Okay.
motion, it's just on me.
Great.
4-H coming in handy.
Yep. Okay, the next order of old business is the employee handbook. I haven't had a whole lot of time to go through that, but we do have some other things that we want to put in motion for that handbook project. And we've got some other things too that we probably I need to get organized on, because I've got some other questions. We need to get like a policy book of the policies that are in place. Maybe, I don't know, Samantha, what do you think about that? So that anybody else that comes in knows the policies that we're putting in place, like the procurement policy,
Oh, I think having a policy book is needed, it is separate from the employee handbook. I think we can move forward with the employee handbook and then tackle the policy handbook problem.
Okay, well, I'd like another month to make some additions in my expectations for the employee handbook. So, if that's okay. The next order of old business is the update on the culvert extensions and the ditch work.
Is this when you want your slideshow?
Yes. Yes, and
I'm just kidding, and now I,
we have worked on,
my IT guy is gonna come.
yeah, that's an IT guy.
Our travels.
Okay, what we've got here is the box on 60th, west of Butler Road. And we had a failure on the apron, so we had to drill it. And then we thought we could maybe get away with maybe putting a base in there, but we had to dig it out because it was soft, so we were down about 9 feet, 10 feet. And we replaced it with grizzly, mixture of rock and soil, and then put a form in, and we poured the apron and proceeded to put 24 in the bottom to get some stabilization, and 12-inch riprap on the wing walls and up the ditch line. This is actually the north side, and we covered the slope and all the water that comes down and it turns and goes into the box. So we wrapped the slope going back to the east a little bit and continued it on into the slope itself.
This is on 60th or 40th?
That's on 60th, or 40th, excuse me.
40th.
I
Yeah, I
apologize.
was like, wait.
Sorry, didn't mean to get sorry about that, John.
Yeah, that washed out badly last summer.
Yeah, it was horrible. Now we've got this one complete, and you'll see that in the invoices for the contractor, and then we don't have any of the tickets on the Rockville Burke Camp as well, and we're not quite yet finished. I made a telephone call to 2 separate companies that were suggested by the Butler County engineering on guardrail, because I'd like to put some guardrail up there, so we're going to get costs, and I'll present those bids next month. I just want to make sure that we have a guardrail back, because if the school bus goes off that edge over there, it'll damn sure roll over. And the south side is more extreme than the north, but
This is 60.
let's move to the next project.
This is the next one.
This is on
50th Street.
50th Street. This is in front of Larry Searle's house. We've got his pond that has a weir dam on it, and but he's got something in the back, and he's changed the flow of water off of that field, and it comes in about 350 feet to the west. So what it's done is it's turned out there and undermined the edge of the road. So we went in and corrected the ditch line and riprapped it. And this is the ditch moving. This is the ditch moving to the west. Yeah. Now this right here, this is on Tawakoni and 60th. We had a water issue of water coming from the west, or excuse me, from the east back to the west. And when it rained enough, it would moat around the residence house, Sean Reed's. So what we did was we opened it up in the ditch line and carried it about 350, 400 feet to the south. And then we did a tie-in with the culverts coming off the landowner, to allow the water to escape. So we'll find out here in the next couple of days, what we've done with that. We're not quite done, with this stage of it. We need to probably put a light till on it and maybe throw some seed. But for the most part, the dirt work is complete, and we're going to wait till we get this rain this week and see what we do for water flow. I'm assuming it's going to flow pretty good, because it was definitely blocked. So our next project is actually going to be on 60th, just east of Prairie Creek Road. There's a log cabin, and the lake, the pond that's there drains, hits the road, has actually undermined the road, and turns back to the west, and then turns again and goes under the road to the south. And we're gonna do some riprap on both north and south of that, that's gonna start probably Wednesday or Thursday.
But we already approved that last
Yes.
month, okay, they just haven't
Yeah.
gotten to it yet, honestly.
Yes.
I didn't look at it.
So I feel like we're actually making some headway there. I talked to McLaughlin this morning, and he's very pleased with the project on 40th. So, like I said, we're still not complete with that. We're going to be looking at some guardrail there, and we'll be moving towards that on the next meeting. Okay. The next order of old business is the land survey. I talked to Gerber this morning, and they've got all the legal work done, legal depiction done. And they've got one crew in Wichita and one crew coming out of Newton, and they will be on it hopefully by the end of this week, have that complete. And that'll be a preset for the dirt work, so we can depict with the landowner exactly what we're going to do per property location. So moving forward, we just don't have an overall cost on that. That was an hourly rate with them, and they were the same rate as the ones at Rose Hill that we decided to go with Gerber. That's an update on that. So the next order of new business is no new business, which is something. So,
Old business, real quick.
old business.
Just a quick update on FEMA.
Oh.
Last, there really isn't one.
Okay.
It's been 2 months since we sent all that data to the state, and I hadn't heard anything, so I jogged their memory a few days ago, and they're working on it. That's the only answer. Actually, I was supposed to get a call by the end of last week, and I didn't. So I'll probably send another note saying, we need to know. So that's all I can tell you. There is no update. It's in process.
Okay. As long as we got something in a forward momentum. Treasurer's report.
Okay, we are 17% of the way through the year. February expenses deposits in the general fund were $72.93. Our expenses were $7,182.66, so our balance in the general fund was $68,228.96. In the road fund, we finally got paid for that culvert from Sandra Garwood, so we had a deposit of $2,172.40. She apologized for taking so long to get that to us. The road expenses were $29,023.09. Our balance in the road fund is $306,479.43. No change in FEMA. We bought that truck for $35,000 out of the special machinery fund, so that drops that balance to $65,002.93. And I forgot to go to the post office today and pick up the title because they sent it to my house because you had to sign for it, and I wasn't home, so it's at the post office waiting for us. As stated, we're 17% of the way through the year. In the general fund, we are right at 17%. Nothing too notable came in the general fund. In the road fund, we are 10% of budget.
That's why he's not here.
So, I mean, it's pretty early in the year to be saying we're under budget, but technically we are. Do you guys have any questions? The only other thing I have to report is that I got the work comp audit completed, and I'm still waiting to hear back from them if we get a refund or if we owe more money. So I'm expecting a refund. We've gotten a refund every year I've been doing this. We'll see how that plays out. That's all I have.
Okay, roads. On the roads. We got the culvert installation in. Did you get that last little turn up there? We've got the culvert installation for Santa Fe Lake Road and 254 access road is in. So I'll call him and get that bill in. Contact on the way. So roads that were graded was Medlark from 60th to Parallel, 40th from 159th to Santa Fe Lake Road, 50th from 159th to Tawakoni, 30th from South Main to Santa Fe Lake Road, and Parallel from 159th to Medlark. We hauled gravel on 41st Street and 43rd Street, both off of Tawakoni. There's 2 cul-de-sac roads in there that was pretty bad.
Do those go back to the east
To the west.
or to the west?
To the west.
Off of Tawakoni.
On Tawakoni.
I can't get my brain.
Yeah, we also hauled gravel to the intersection of Medlark and 60th, the intersection I worked at, which we did it before the last rain, and we were going to add more to that.
We went back, I regraded it a little bit, and then we added another load in the spot where it washed out and was really delayed.
Right. The difference between the 2 split of the road where Medlark came into, or are you talking off to the side?
Off to the side where the
Off to
road
the side.
curves a bit.
Okay, very good. We picked up sticks and debris from the tree trimming, working in conjunction with the contractor. And then we did some work in conjunction with the projects that are left to bid with the contractor. So all those additional costs with that, or those haven't come in yet. Cost of rock from Burkamp.
No, we didn't have any. You guys have this paper as well. We had been trucking rock hauling, but that was from rock haul at the end of December. They just got us an invoice in February, so that got paid. And I don't have any Burkamp or any quarry. I have 0 rock paid in February.
Well, it'll be with Benton trucking. And we did a cover coat on 40th from 159th to Butler Road. And that had that sand and mud, which that helped out a lot over there, so I think those people will be good. And then we also hauled trash, the trash and stuff, the stuff we get off of the road that people seem to dump. And then in the road stuff, as far as I'd like to make a comment about the Miles Estates. I did contact the realtor that has their sign up there, and then got to the engineering company, and then laid out my expectations for that, and I'll be contacting the engineering department there in El Dorado for Butler County with what my expectations on that road are, as far as them bringing that water straight out and dumping it on Tawakoni. So, and I think they'll be compliant, because unless the county engineer okays the water thoroughfare, then they cannot get building permits to start any type of construction. I think that's where we're going to hold that. I did speak also at the county commissioners meeting about that, and used Miles Estate as an example of the positioning of how a developer comes in and goes through planning and zoning, and it gets okayed and goes to the county commission, and then actually sets bids and starts construction. And my question was, how come the engineering comes last if there's a problem? How come the township board is not notified when the people picks to come in, especially when they're making decisions and we're expected to take the financial burden after it's all said and done. So, and after that meeting, I actually did get a comment from Darren Jackson. He said the tree trimming looks great. So we got that going for us. But other than that, that's about it on the roads.
I have a question.
Yes.
Some point, not what you talked about.
No.
Sometime back, we talked about the gravel we're getting from Southwest Quarry versus what we were getting in Severn. You had mentioned the trucking costs had gone up. Can we do another cost comparison on the 2 types of gravel, as far as hauling and what the tonnage is and all that?
I would be happy to get in fact, I just got, at the beginning of the year, everybody had a price, every quarry had a price increase.
I'm sure.
So I can put together a spreadsheet that shows what each query costs and what the trucking is.
So I was out on the roads last week, Because more, I rode my bike for a few miles. There is a lot of dust on the roads.
I agree.
So, you know, if it's feasible, I just want to know what the cost difference is, so on and so forth.
The only thing that I remember off the top of my head is Bannon Trucking is double on trucking. They charge us $8 from Southwest Rutherford, and they charge us $16 a ton out of,
How often do we have to replace, and that's kind of the unknown.
well, yeah, that'll be on Cole to keep track of how many loads we're
Yeah,
dumping, I guess.
it's about the only thing we can do. Anyway, just a question.
I'll bring it to the next meeting.
Okay. Yes? Cemeteries, Brent?
I don't really have anything.
We had a burial on Friday.
We did or do?
We did.
It's actually Saturday.
Was it Saturday?
In Barry, B-E-R-R-Y.
Okay.
Barry got buried.
Mike took care of that one.
Mike did?
Yeah, he also had some extra dirt when he went to backfill, so he's got some spread out here and there that Colson and I need to go rake around. And we're gonna have some rust and stuff, so.
At the cemetery itself? Okay, well, yeah, for sure.
Saturday, you said?
Yeah.
Going along.
Her name was Anise, I think, A-N-I-S-E, Barry, B-E-R-R-Y.
Okay. Cemetery, working on getting the mapping done. Very, very tedious. I have to pick out every grave, find it on the map, and then I assign that name to that map. It doesn't show up on the map, but if you put in, I want to know where Pete Smith is, you can click on that, and it'll show it on the map. It's just a little balloon thing. But it takes, I have to do each individual grave, so it takes a while.
So going backwards is really a pain, but when we go forwards, it shouldn't be too bad.
Oh, no, once it's done, it's a lot nicer to,
But I guess what I'm asking is when a new person is buried, are we getting that added so that we don't have another one of these big projects of going back and retroactively?
when in fact, I'm making a note on this one, because once I get the paperwork from Mike on where the person is, then I enter that, and it will be assigned to the map.
No,
I do that. Once I get it done, it'll take 2 minutes to enter a new one.
Gotcha.
It's just, you gotta maintain it.
Yeah, I've got a question on that too. Do we have a current written policy on the purchase of cemetery plots?
In regard to,
Purchasing the plots?
Mike handles all of that.
Okay.
What he does, he fills out a paper and he gives it to me. He keeps a copy, I keep a copy. He makes a note in the book that he has. I put it in the computer on who owns it, it's whoever bought it. If it's not occupied, it's just noted in the computer that it is sold to this person.
Okay, with that being said, is there any agreement with the purchaser for the upkeep of the monument?
Not that I'm aware of. That might be something for the policy book.
Yeah, we'll address that. What are the current requirements concerning damage to the headstones? We have something on that?
I suppose the only thing I know, and Brent, we've had damage, maybe a mower hits it or something like that, then the township picks it up, but other than that, I don't know.
We damage it.
If we damage it, we
Yeah.
pick it up.
If the stone is in disrepair, we don't have any requirements that they fix it, do we?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Who is currently responsible for setting the headstones? Is that on the
That's
owner?
usually, the owner usually does that through the funeral home or mortuary. They're the ones that set it.
Okay. Okay, anything else on cemetery? All right, let's move on to the equipment. We're doing a 600-hour workover on the motor grader right now. And I think we had a cost of $828.74 in oil and filters, inners, outers on the air.
Engine oil, 7 gallons, oil filter, final fuel filter, gallon of hydraulic oil, 2 outer air filters, 1 inner air filter.
Right, and the reason we've got multiple air filters is because when we clean that air filter, especially on these roads, we want to take out the exterior filter to blow it out, then blow the canister out and clean it, and then remove the inner filter and put a new one. And then we can blow out the other filter for probably twice, two cycles, and then go back into a little bit more there. But the inner filter is what I'm most concerned with, because we don't want to dust the motor. The motor's probably $45,000 machine. So we're gonna spend a little bit extra on filter to kind of protect that air intake on that machine, because it was pretty packed up.
Oh, it was bad. It was
Yeah,
nasty.
so, everything shakes out. And we just did general maintenance. We did general maintenance on the equipment, on the other equipment, cleaning, washing,
Moving.
greasing, lubing. I think all of our equipment is actually getting up to snuff. I did have a question, where are we at on that dump truck deal?
Purple Wave has everything they need. They have the title, they have all the specs on it. They came out and looked at it last week. I don't.
Was Mike here for that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It should go out on the auction block sometime later this month.
Wonderful, that's wonderful news. Okay, that's all we've got on equipment. I make a motion to adjourn. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say yes. All opposed, say no. I say yes. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thanks for everybody for coming.
I have no idea. I mean, I knew that Stephen brought that.
Can I stick around the
And
Oh, we got you?
I,